Happy Friday, everybody. It's Chamber Check-in time. And today I get to share the story of Learned Lawyer. And I have founder and owner, Mr. Scott Learned. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, I'm super stoked to share your story and hear more about your history of work and how you landed in this industry and where you're at today, all the stuff. But first, I get to thank our series sponsor for this series. And it's been an impactful partnership for the last couple of years. Scott, it's Delta Dental of Idaho. And you know that Delta Dental has been providing high quality, best in class dental insurance benefits to Idahoans and businesses for over 50 years. In fact, last summer, they celebrated their 50-year anniversary. And I have a fun video from their Truth series to share. Here we go.
Did you know that teeth are the hardest substance in the human body? I did.
Thank you, Delta Dental. We always learn something new from those folks. Yeah, absolutely. So let me do just a quick little formal introduction. So this is something I always love looking at people's LinkedIn or their website. And I learned from Don Day the other day, Googling them. So I'm going to use that. So from legal intern with the CIA back in the day to owner of your own practice, Mr. Scott Learned.
That's all true.
You are a huge part of our chamber. You've been a member since 2018, and you also serve as chair for our Small Business Advisory Council. How do you find time in your day to invest with us amongst all the other community things that you're doing?
Oh, I don't know. Can be a bit of a juggling act. I've got good people that help me kind of, keep me moving the direction I'm supposed to be moving in, but it's got its days.
Well, I know that a few of us here at the Chamber use your estate planning services, and I know that my wife and I are scheduled with y'all here in a couple of months. So excited to learn more about you. But why don't you help share the story? This is what these Chamber check-ins are for, are learning about the people involved in the Chamber and some of their businesses and their service and products. So
awesome.
Why don't you bring us up to speed, Scott? When did Learned Lawyer become a vision of yours, and help us understand your history of work?
Yeah. So I never was going to be a lawyer to start with. So growing up, I was into math and science. And so I went off to college, assuming I was going to go be an engineer. And I got into engineering and said, yeah, I don't know. I like people. I like solving problems. So I liked that about engineering. But a lot of engineers spend a lot of time in their own heads and working on a thing without a lot of other people around. And I didn't like that. I really like helping people. And so I kind of decided I didn't want to do engineering, found law school, went off to DC for law school. I went to Georgetown, and I got to intern at the CIA while I was there, got to work at the Department of Justice for a while. So that was pretty great. And after 3 years in the district, said, okay, time to move back to Idaho and go practice law. So I came straight back to Boise, took the Idaho bar, and went into practice with a firm here, doing mostly insurance defense litigation. So I did a lot of employment litigation, some construction litigation, a little malpractice, some product liability type stuff, a lot of courtroom work. And I really enjoyed the people I worked with. I didn't necessarily enjoy the work so much.
Right.
I learned a lot. I got to be mentored by some really excellent lawyers, had really great support staff there and stuff. And so that kind of kept me going. But I lasted about 5 years. And after 5 years, I said, okay, I'm never practicing law again. And I was totally done. And I quit, and I had no idea what I was going to do next. And so I kind of drifted for 6 months trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I got offered a job teaching high school. So I taught high school math and science, 11th and 12th grade, and also theater, because I do have a theater background as well. I'm a
Fellow
former,
thespian. Fellow thespian.
yeah, I was a Shakespeare Festival apprentice way back in the day. So, uh, so I taught for 5 years. And I really enjoyed teaching. I really enjoyed being able to help the students, and teaching high school math. You get a lot of kids who come in hating math, and my goal was to make it hopefully where they felt like they didn't hate math so much. Like that was my goal. And I feel like I got there for a lot of kids. I taught math and physics, and after about 5 years of that, the problem with teaching, the problem with practicing in a big law firm, the pay is really great. It sucks your soul out. The problem with teaching is it's really soul satisfying, and the pay is horrible, right? And so in 2011, I decided I needed to kind of figure out what I could do that paid me an okay salary where I could support, I was having kids and stuff, so support my family, but made it so that I really wanted to go to work in the mornings. And so I started, I actually wasn't intending to start a law firm at all in 2011, but I kind of did on accident. Back in 2011, nobody was hiring for anything. It's kind of the opposite of today, right? Where where no one's taking on any jobs. Nobody was hiring in 2011. And so I had a lot of trouble finding anything to do. And finally, one of my mentors said, "Why are you trying to get a job? You know everything you need to do to just go start your own practice, right?" And I said, "That's a horrible idea. I'm not doing that." And she said, just go do it and see what happens. And so I started looking for clients while trying to look for a job. And within a couple of months, I wasn't looking for a job anymore because I was too busy with my clients. So that's kind of how the law firm was born. At first, I had no focus or direction. Honestly, I took whoever walked through the door and tried to help them as best I could.
Right.
And then over time, I focused in on two practice areas. One was doing divorce and child custody work, and then doing estate planning for folks. So writing wills and trusts and all that kind of stuff. And, over time, I recognized that while I can do the family practice, the child custody and the divorce and stuff, I just don't really like to. And what I really enjoy doing is writing wills and trusts for people, helping people if they've had a loss in their family or somebody's become incapacitated, that kind of thing. And so in 2017, right before I joined the chamber, I decided I was only going to do estate planning, probate, and kind of those areas. And we've been at it ever since.
Wow. So 11 years now owning your own firm.
Yeah.
So you made it past the 5-year mark.
Yep. Yep.
And where are you streaming from today? Because I remember you were in the basement of the Hoff building. I had to figure out how to find you. I wanted to make sure the lights were on when I showed up.
Yep. We I started the practice on a card table in my living room of my apartment, right? But eventually we moved into the basement of the Hoff building. We were there for probably 4 or 5 years, and finally decided that we got to get out of the downtown corridor just because of parking for my, a lot of my clients are older folks,
right?
And mobility is difficult, and as parking gets challenging downtown. So we've moved off of Park Center Boulevard, so we're not far, just right by Park Center Pond, on Mallard Drive. So if you know where Smoky Mountain is on Park Center, we're right across the street.
Awesome. Okay, that's cool. I haven't yet been in your new space, so I'm going to show up next week and say hello.
Great.
Okay.
We'll be here.
Okay. Hey, on the front page of your website, it says peace of mind. That already brings the blood pressure down. So tell me how you and your team at Learned Lawyer are helping people with their peace of mind.
Yeah. For me, that's what this whole thing is all about, really. And it's honestly why I like estate planning compared to doing divorce and custody work. Divorce and custody work, we're just going to, get angry and fight and do all kinds of stuff. And we're probably never going to get very far. And in estate planning, whether it's helping a family plan for what if something bad happens to mom and dad? What happens to the kids? If it's planning for, an older couple who maybe has a complicated situation, or they just want to make things easy for their kids, knowing that they've got the right documents in place, they've got a good plan in place. We've talked about taxes. We've talked about, all that kind of stuff. We just really want our clients to feel like they know that if something bad happens, that it's going to go smoothly for them. And then, of course, on the other end of it, when people call in because they've had a death or an incapacity issue or something, just letting them know that we are, I can't take the emotional burden off of their plate, right? That's something they're going to have to shoulder themselves. But I can deal with the financial issues. I can deal with the legal issues. I can deal with the court system and the county recorder's office and the county assessor and all those things that need dealt with, so that they can just focus on getting on with their life and getting through the grieving process and all that sort of thing. So,
okay. I love it. I love that you put that on the front page of your website. It makes you dive deeper.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us maybe some of your other top 5 services, and plug those a little bit?
Yeah. So the probably the number one thing we do most consistently for clients is trust-based estate planning. So I'm a big believer in the value of having a trust, a living trust for folks. And that looks very different for different kinds of families. But we'll use living trusts, for example, if you're a younger couple who's got little kids and you're worried about what happens, like you're worried about what happens if something happens to mom and dad, right? We're going to use that trust to make sure that the inheritance goes, if there's life insurance money or retirement accounts or those kind of things at the house, that it gets held and used for the benefit of the kids without it being something where when they turn 21, they can do whatever the heck they want with it. Because we know that that's not going to lead to a good outcome. So a lot of what we're doing with the trust-based planning is just trying to make sure that things go smoothly, that when assets transfer to the next of kin or the next generation down or whomever they're going to, that it goes well, that it's a benefit for them, not a detriment. I think a lot of people hear me say that and they think, well, how could receiving an inheritance ever be a detriment, right? But I've got clients who have kids with opioid pain addiction, right? Yeah. So if you take a kid who's addicted to pain pills and you drop $500,000 in their lap, that's not going to turn out so good, right? Or kids who have special needs, or kids who just are young and immature, right? I've got kids who are 10, 13, and 17. If something happens to my wife and I, those kids should not receive our money, right? Obviously not today, but certainly not when they hit 18, because we know 18-year-olds are not really ready to figure that stuff out for themselves, right? So that's a big part of what we do is helping deal with those kind of situations and make sure things are going to go smoothly. One of the things we spend a lot of time actually worrying about is incapacity planning for folks. So, especially with maybe an older couple or a single person where they've already lost their spouse, you really have to worry about what happens if something happens to that person where they can't be in charge of their own money anymore, right? Who steps in? How do they come in to start managing money? When does that happen? Do we have to go get doctors to give a medical opinion, or can we rely on family to make that decision? Or do we have to go see a judge? Usually the worst case scenario. Right. What's that look like? What's the plan? Who do we trust to do that job? How do we get the right documents in place to make sure they have the authority? So that's a big part of what we do too. And along with that, healthcare decision-making. If you can't make a healthcare decision for yourself, who makes it for you? Yeah. If you're in a vegetative state, do you want us to keep you going forever? Or do you want us to pull the plug? Those kind of questions.
Wow.
So it's just all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah.
I think a lot of clients don't even realize what the questions are that they need to be answering, right? And so they come see me and I say, do you have a plan for this? And they say, oh gosh, no. And I say, okay, don't worry about it because we'll figure it out together. And and we do, and then they have a plan, and now they know it's a thing, and they know that they already have an answer, and they're off and running. So
that's your peace of mind statement right there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, for our listeners, Scott, I'm going to throw your website. It's scrolling on the bottom. There's a lot of great information. Learn more at learnedlawyeridaho.com. Hey, I want to just close and thank you again, Scott, for your time invested in us and this community, for helping us all with our peace of mind. And I'm really looking forward to when my wife and I get to sit down with you and answer those questions and provide us some peace of mind as well.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and congrats on your new space. I heard Stephanie's with you now on your team.
Yep.
So you've got
That's
now
true.
another rock star beside yourself. Power couple. Here we go.
Sure.
Well, hey, you guys have a great weekend, and I look
Thanks,
forward
Paul.
to the next time we can cheers and celebrate as we pump into this awesome spring.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks.